Welcome back to the channel. Finally, it's time to build a new PC, and you can see all the parts I would like to use up in this build. So this video will be a two-parter. In the first part, I will go through all the pieces and all the parts I will use into the computer, and the detailed explanation why I choose each part and which one I would recommend for a similar price. The price cost about 1500 USD total, and that can depend on your country on you're living in. I live in Hungary. This is the prices I have to deal with, so I paid for it already, so let's go over the parts soon or quickly. So mainly, firstly, the CPU is the AMD Ryzen 9 7900. This is the 12-core 24-thread processor. The base clock is 3.7 GHz. The boost clock is about 5.4, but it depends on the cooling that you have available. And I have three main reasons why I chose this CPU. First of all, it's cheaper than the 7900X or the 7950X. Second of all, it's only a 65 watt part. That means I can choose a less expensive motherboard. And the third of all is the AMD's generosity that they include the company. They include a factory cooler with each CPU, which are non-X at the moment. I do not know of the newer editions, but this one includes a cooler. If you do not plan to overclock, this should be more than sufficient to cool your CPU. The second, also one of the most important parts, is obviously the GPU. I choose the RTX 3060 because the games I play don't require much more power than this one. And to be honest, if I would be building a PC for somebody else for purely gaming purposes, I would choose different parts. In that case, I would go down for the 7800, and instead of the 3060, I would choose the 3060 Ti or the 3070. For approximately the same money, you would get much more performance out of your games. But since I plan to use this computer for at least 4 or 5 years, I assume that in the meantime, in the halftime, I will buy a brand new GPU if they will be available for the normal price. I will somehow upgrade, and that's the new GPU I will use. I believe that will be the 50 series or so. Let's go towards the main board. For the main board, I chose the Gigabyte B60M DS3H. This is to be considered an entry-level motherboard. If you remember one of my older videos, I used the B450M DS3H from Gigabyte for my Ryzen 3 build. Since then, they have included some better features, including NVMe and also better VRAM cooling and PCIe 4 support. For the memory, I chose this Kingston Fury. It's a DDR5 32 gig kit. It's 6000 mega transfers, and if I'm correct, it's a CL36 timing. It's perfectly fine. One of the most common memory kits. If 32 gigs won't be enough, I'm just gonna buy another kit, add to the PC, and bam, it's 64. No problem. For the storage, I have chosen this 500 GB Crucial NVMe SSD, which I bought for a different computer but never used up, so I'm gonna use with this build. And from my previous machine, I will use the 3 TB hard drive that I had. This contains all my movies, all my films, all my edits, etc. I don't see any point in throwing it out. If I find any available SSDs with similar size with affordable price, obviously I'm gonna upgrade at one point. The next component is obviously the PSU. This is a 650 watt Gold Plus EVGA PSU, and although it says SFX on the box, This one has a bracket that makes it that allows it to be installed in ATX houses. The PSU is completely modular, so when it comes to cable management, I will have an easier time than before. I don't need to use that many cables, and it will a little bit more pretty inside the house, hopefully. And let's go to the case. This is a Deepcool case. The exact number is CH510. It has tempered glass side panel. As you can hear, it's completely glass. It has all the funny features. Couple of USB ports on the top and one handy dandy headphone holder, which I believe it will be used sometimes and sometimes not. I will see. It has plenty of room. Micro ATX case will fit in very nicely. So that's all for the first part, and I will see you later with the assembly video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any comments, questions, please write down below. I try to answer every single one of them.